I'm Annie Smith. I'm a Laura Star ambassador. I've been in the industry since 2000, and you may or may not know me from before now. And if you don't, you're going to know me now. Okay? I love the Laura Star system, and that's what I'm here to share with you today. Okay, there are several reasons why I love this, and well, why do you need a Laura Star system, right? So I'm going to share that with you. First and foremost, it has the ironing board plus the boiler system that is in the bottom. And so you put the water in the boiler, it does not go into the iron and start burning up and spew brown water. It just doesn't do that because the water comes through the hose system and it is a microfine dry steam. Yes, you heard me right. It's a dry steam. So if I want, and so I'm going to demonstrate this for you. Okay. Okay. If you did this with a traditional iron that has the boiler in the iron, we would be making a 911 call right now. Okay. But this is cool. And anybody who wants to come up and feel it, you're welcome to do that at the end of my presentation. But you can see that the steam has a lot of power to it, and you can see it come underneath the board. So it goes right through the fibers that you're trying to press, and but the great thing is that it doesn't make your fabrics wet. It's dry when you pick them up. Okay. So I love to sew for myself, and I love to wear cotton, and I love to wear linen. Things that you know do not travel well in a suitcase. Okay. And so this came directly out of my suitcase. And when I used the Laura Star iron, so you can either have it automatically be on the steam setting, or you can press the button on the left hand side or the right hand side. So this is for right handed and left handed ironers. Okay. And so you can either pulse it, which means pulse, 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 or you can hold on to it so that it steams the entire time. But that's what it looks like. And you get really great creases because it goes through both fabrics all the way to the back. But like like you, I am also a quilter. How many times have you bought a fat quarter pack and they have permanent creases in them that just are never going to come out no matter what you do? Well, with the Laura Star, you can actually take your fabrics and layer them. So I usually put the selvages on one side. And I mean, these are really good and wrinkled. That's not going to come out very easily. And when you're cutting, uh, you know, pieces for a quilt, strips and whatever, your fabric has to be flat in order to get really nice cuts. And so you don't want any wrinkles in your fabric at all. So what I do is I layer them like this so that the selvages are all on one side. And then I go through this and I will steam all of my fabrics together. And when you do that, the steam goes all the way through so that everything is nice and flat on both sides. And when you press your fabrics together, they stick together so that you can pick up this stack and just take it over to your cutting mat. And so when you start cutting, the fabric will not be shifting underneath. And so that's why you don't want to press them one at a time and then make a stack of them and then start cutting. You want to press them all together because then they'll stick and they won't shift. Okay. And so also, if you are trying to get a really good crease on fabric for a binding, okay, I'm sorry, I thought those were sewn together. So I usually um, I have a bias strip, and then I fold it over in order to create my double fold binding, and you get a really beautiful crease. And you know what the great thing is? You know, when you use your traditional iron, you have to have your hand far away. Did you notice that my hand's not far away as I'm working on it? And you know how your fabric gets really, really hot, and you have to go like, I have to wait for it to cool. Not here. Okay. And then so you have a really beautifully pressed crease for your binding that also sticks together, and now it's ready to be sewn. Okay. I also use wool, and the Laura Star is great on wool, especially to get out the creases. I mean, the Laura Star is the best at what it does, and that is the cool, dry steam, which is an oxymoron, right? But you can feel that it's really hot underneath here. Okay, so there's the wool. But, okay, this is the main reason that sold me on the Laura Star ironing system. And that is when I take my quilts out of my suitcase to hang at a guild meeting or anywhere, like I'm hanging the quilts in my home or they're going to a quilt show, and you cannot have creases in your quilts that you just can't. So, but guess what? If you put your quilts face down on the board, you can press them with steam on the back side, and so you're not flattening any of the quilting in the front. You're just pressing it. I want to press it really good so you can see the difference. Okay. But this is the best thing in the world, because how do you make your quilts flat after they've been creased and they have permanent creases in them? This is the way to do it. Okay. So I've done 2/3 of it, but look at the difference. Nice and flat every time. And it doesn't flatten your quilting, it doesn't flatten your embroidery or your applique, as long as you do it on the back of the quilt. But now this quilt is ready to hang on display somewhere. Okay. So the other features of the Laura Star that I love is the telescoping handle that keeps the cord out of your way so that you can, you know, do this. If you didn't hear before, it's for left-handed and right-handed sewers. Now, if you watch this area up here, there's a little feature on, if you push the button right here. Do you see that there's a fan in this area that blows up the ironing mat, or you can use it flat. But this is to be used for like silks and really fine fabrics, so that you just go over the top of them with steam, and then you don't actually touch them with the iron. But you know, steam is the thing that takes the wrinkles out, right? It's not the iron, right? Or the weight of the iron. So you can set it so that it automatically, as soon as you move the iron over, the fan goes on, or that it's always in the off position. This handling fits. You can either use it with the plate right here, and then it stores with a little cubby right here on the end. And all of this is, of course, heat resistant. Then there's also a sole plate that you can use if you're using delicate fabric. So Georgette, chiffon, anything that you would be making a wedding dress for. And it clips right on without you having to touch anything or get burnt. And you can just take this off as well. But it protects the sole plate, but it also allows you to get the steam through it. Okay? Then the other thing is that there are several different functions in the board itself, so that you can make it either manual, so that all of the features for the board come on when you're using the iron, or that they're turned off, and you can do a combination of any of those things. And so, do you have any questions about this? Yes. It is, well, that is what it looks like. And so it's a foam padding, so it's not wool. But let me tell you, traditional ironing boards, you can always see the weave of the metal that comes through after a while that you've used the ironing board cover. That does not happen with the Laura Star. And I don't know why. I think it's the quality of the materials that they use for it. Okay. And the cool thing is the Laura Star, you put the water in the well here that's underneath that I'm touching, and it has a filter that is blue when you put it in, and you only use tap water. The Laura Star is formulated for you to use your tap water. And so when the filter starts to turn yellow, a yellowy gold color, then you know it's time to change it out. But I used my Laura Star for a year, and I am a really heavy sewer and ironer. And after a year, I had to change the filter, and the filters are affordable. Ah, I wish I had my iPhone with me but I have it back in my booth. Um, there is an app that you get that is the Laura Star app that takes you through video tutorials on how to set your iron up, how to descale your boiler, how to put the water in, how to change out the filter, and how to close your system back up. And the Laura Star system, okay, so it has lowers and risers so you can put it at the height you need it to be, but also when you fold the ironing board up, this is the top of the board and that goes down towards the bottom and it folds up just like this. And so it fits right behind a door, and it has wheels on it so that you don't have to drag it places. Okay. Also, there is the lift system. So if you don't want or need the ironing board system, you can just get the lift, which is basically the iron and the boiler with the water well, which also takes a filter, and you can use it on your regular ironing board. Okay. And this also takes just tap water. This is a heat resistant surface, just like this is. And the great thing about the lift and the Laura Star itself is that if you have something like if you're going to a wedding and you have your dress hanging in a hotel room, you can always iron and steam vertically. And as a matter of fact, at a trade show that I was at, somebody had a men's suit jacket that had been kind of mangled up in a suitcase, and they held it on a hanger and just used this just like a steamer and just steamed the jacket perfectly without the iron touching the jacket at all. So you don't have to iron it. All you have to do is steam it. Okay. And so the Laura Star actually purifies your fabric. And so you can use it on your upholstery to steam it and to purify and freshen your fabric, which I wish I could remember the exact terms, but it does help with germs and mites and things like that that would be in your fabrics at home. If you're interested, I have a Laura Star ambassador coupon that gives you a $50 rebate that Laura Star will send to you after you purchase your piece, and you send this in and they'll send you a check for $50. And so if you're interested in this, just let me know. But can I answer any other questions for you? Yes. Right. I don't know if they have it in the booth or not. They might, but you can ask them. Yeah. Yeah, because there is just a separate ironing board that you can buy. And you can buy this in pieces and not just the whole system. All right. Yes. As a matter of fact, do you have a pen handy? She'll get a pen. I have to. Oh, yeah. Oh, there are several different models that you can get, and they're different colors. Yes, I know. I love it. And, I don't know right off the top of my head, but they'll know in the booth. They'll be able to tell you everything. Do you know what booth number they're in? 1208. 1208. Yeah, so it's just right over here. It is November 2nd already. How did that happen? There you go. Thank you so much.
Hey, we have another 7 minutes for the live watchers. Do you mind demonstrating?
Oh, yeah, not at all. Not at all. Sure. Okay, hold on just a minute. I have to give somebody a coupon. Yes. They are in booth 1208. My booth is 1445. There you go. Thank you so much. Okay, are you ready? Okay. For those of you who are still with me, and thanks for staying with me, let me talk about the lift again. Okay. This is absolutely portable. And so it has a retractable electrical cord in it. And then, so here's the iron. And so it has the same uh, water system and boiler that the large iron has, but it's just in a smaller format. And so, see, this one's not plugged in, but it does exactly what this iron does, which I'll show you in just a sec. But what happens is, so with a traditional iron, the boiler for the iron is in here, in the iron. And so that's why it gets super hot. When you use the steam, it's wet. Your fabric is wet when you get done, and it's really, really hot because everything is boiling in here, and the water that's coming out is, well, boiling temperature. But with the Laura Star, the boiler is in this area right here. Here's your water well and filter, and then the water gets filtered through the hose, and then what comes out here is microfine dry steam. Okay, and you can use this exactly like the entire Laura Star ironing system, um, and just use it with a traditional ironing board. Laura Star also has a standalone ironing board that you can get to if you have a lift and now you want the ironing board. So I will show you how the iron works, which is really pretty cool. Oh, so it has buttons on either side of the handle for left-handers or right-handers. And then this iron corresponds with the Laura Star system in that it has this button on the end that actually activates the vent that is inside the ironing board. And so if you press it, the ironing board cover lifts up and it's blown up with air, so that if you have very delicate fabrics and things that you just want to steam on a surface, you can go ahead and do that and not actually be touching the iron to the fabric. Or you can use it totally in the down position. So let me show you about the steam, because this is the very same thing that is on the lift system that I just showed you. So here's the steam. It's really powerful, and you can see that. But guess what? I can have my hand up this close to the iron, and I'm not going to burn myself because through the hose system, the water gets cooled down out of the boiler, and it works just beautifully. And so the iron is nice and hot. The steam is uh, kind of like a medium temperature, but it certainly does do the trick. And so you can see, I think, that the steam is going through the ironing board because of the power of the steam. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks.
Okay. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to talk about our beautiful TR 1055X made by Brother. And what's so exciting about this machine is that you can do things you can't do on an ordinary sewing and embroidery machine. And that's what makes it so special because it has the free arm. So I can do sleeves, and I'm going to show you pant legs and little shoes and all kinds of fun things that you can do with this guy that you can't on a normal machine. And that's because of that free arm. So isn't that cool? I find it exciting. So let's just plug this little fella in. There we go. So does anyone have a 10 needle? Yes. Do you love it? I always think I ask that because but they always say yes, they do, so it's okay. And the rest of you are thinking about a 10 needle or just wondering or wanted a place to sit? You have what? Okay. And you? They're fun. They're really. So the beauty of this, how many of you own a Brother machine? Okay, so everything that you know about your Brother machine is the same here. So if you already have one of the small Brother embroidery machines, the icons are going to be the same. Everything that you know about it is going to work the same way. Is that cool? What woman thought of that? No, I'm just kidding. So, and we have an amazing price bundle. And the way they're doing it here, one of the things that will include the stand, all kinds of things are coming with it. So that's pretty exciting. But let me just let you see one of the things that I love about this. This has a program on it called My Design Center. And My Design Center means you can do anything you want. Okay? So you can make your own designs. You can draw on the screen. So okay. Okay. Hello, virtual. Okay. So what I can do here, and this is in My Design Center, is I can literally use my finger or the stylus. There's no stylus here today, so we're using my finger. And I'm going to write my name. There it is. And I'm going to touch next. And set. And that's an embroidery design ready to stitch. That's all I have to do. So you can also scan in coloring book drawings or anything like that and make your own designs. And I do a lot of that because it's fun. But let's get down to some of the cool stuff that you can do. I'm going to choose this guy right here. It's a coloring book drawing. Ripped it right out of a coloring book. Now don't sell stuff that you do that with, but now look at this. Is that impressive? You saw how hard it was. I scanned the picture up in here and touch where I want the color to go. You have to be able to touch the color in the right spot. And if you mess it up, you can just do it again. So it's okay. Isn't that cool? So that's one of the things that's pretty exciting. I'm going to put that right there. And this is another one that's pretty exciting. This is in software. This is my favorite granddaughter. Okay, yeah, I only have one granddaughter. Y'all knew that about me, didn't you? So the fun thing is that this is called photo stitch, and this is something you can do in our software. So you have to be able to see what this guy can do. So I've already written my name, and I'm going to actually think that's kind of big. So I'm going to go to embroidery. Nope, I'm going to go back. And let's see. What should we do to that? Because I don't want it to run. It makes noise up here, and it's hard enough to hear me talking. So I'll let it run for just a minute, and then we'll
The switch.
Now, do you notice? I'm sorry, I'm bad at this. Do you notice that it told me where it was going to go first, and then I had to lock it and let it go? That's because it doesn't want you to have your fingers in the wrong place. And I'm going at the slowest speed I have. But that's fast. It's like on the highway, right? So you got your highway speed. And I'm going to stop it. And the reason I'm going to stop it is because it's hard for me to talk and not have the microphone pick up the machine noise, because that's what it's hearing. So let's show you a few more things. Have you ever thought about doing caps? Do you know why people like to do caps? Everybody loves to get a cap, and a custom cap is special. So on a normal machine, that's not much fun to do. But on this fella right here, it's easy peasy. Let me cut that thread in. Because see that free arm? There's a cute little hoop that you can put, and this just goes right on there like that. And it rotates the cap so that you can get a beautiful, beautiful, even embroidery. And that cap hoop is a part of the package if you bought it at this show. Is that cool? So you can do all kinds of fancy caps, and you can do from what they call ear to ear. Now, you're probably thinking here, think back. It's 14 inches. You can do a huge design. Now, another thing that you can do is you can use that area and put in 3 smaller designs, right? People really like that. They can have the flag, they can have the golf course name, they can get a lot of mileage out of that cap. Now, here is one of my favorites. This is very, very popular with the younger set. It's called a flat brim because this is flat, right? So these caps, now you all are ladies and you probably don't know a whole lot about caps. What would you think you would have to pay for a cap like this with an embroidery on it? Anybody have any idea? Okay, she's closer. The lowest I've ever seen is 55. My friend lives in a different state, and we were comparing, and she sells them for 75 per cap, because this flat brim is a big deal, and they'll pay it. So my grandson came home from the store one day with a brand new cap that he bought at the mall, and it had 6 letters on it. And I said, "Oh, honey, how much did you pay for that?" Because Grandma wants to know those kind of things. $55 that child paid for that hat with the 6 letters on it. Do you know how long it takes me to embroider 6 letters on this machine? I'm just saying. Not bragging or anything. So another thing that's kind of important is the little things. Now, we all know, you could do this on your home machine, but I like to call that a vocabulary enhancing experience. And I think apparently you know what I mean. So what happens is this, and I don't care what you do, you get that hoop in there and you put it on the machine, and that back or that sleeve or that something gets caught in there. Well, the way this guy hoops, I can put it in a hoop right here, and all the bad stuff hangs out of the way, and you can't possibly stitch it in. I always say, what woman thought of that? But you know. That was an excellent question, and her question was, could I use the sleeve hoop for that? And absolutely, as a matter of fact, yes, I did. I love the sleeve hoop. Now, and I'm glad you brought that up, because Brother names their hoops. They have a sleeve hoop. The sleeve hoop is obviously made to do sleeves. I mean, come on, really. But here's the secret. What if I wanted to do a baby onesie front? Could I use the sleeve hoop? Yes, ma'am, I could. What if I wanted to do the legs of a pant? Can I do it? Yes, ma'am, I can. Anything that hoop will fit, can fit into that hoop, you can do. So they give out a name to it when they're thinking about it and what they engineer it to do. But boy, once you get it home, you just let it do whatever you want. Now this is another one of my favorites because this is a coloring book page. This is a coloring book page, straight out of a coloring book. I put it on the scan mat. I had it scanned right up into here, touched in the colors. Now, I like to create my own background fills because I can do that in my software. So these background is this little cowboy boots. So you can make your own if you have our software. Isn't that fun? They're little tiny cowboy boots. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, ma'am. My baby's good. She's really good. Now, this is the bread and butter. If you want to make money, this is the way to go. Because people will pay any price for a cap or a polo shirt. And you don't have to put much on it. It can be just a logo. It can be their business name. Sometimes it'll take you 5 minutes. And they'll just like, oh my gosh. And it's so easy because, again, I'm going to hoop it. And what happens to the sleeve and the collar and all that stuff? Hangs out of the way. Can't possibly get run over. Can't possibly get stitched in. Is that cool? All right. What else do I have in here? Oh. So I was visiting my grandson when he was 6 years old. And this is his homework. And I said, oh, honey, can Grandma have your homework? And he said, yes. And I took it home with me. And when he came that summer to spend the week with us, this pillowcase was on his bed. And he walked into the room and he saw it and he went, first grade handwriting. So he remembered it. So that was kind of fun. One of the things that's really, really important is for design to be straight. Yes? Because if it's crooked, the whole world will notice it. And several of you have on items of clothing. I particularly love your plaid. But if it's not done straight, is she ever going to wear that shirt again? No, because she'd be embarrassed, right? Well, this guy has the snowman system on it. So all I have to do is put a little snowman on here on the shirt. Now, if I hoop it crooked and stupid, the machine goes, I just love her anyway. And you choose the design. And let me just put something in here real quick. I'll put in this kitty cat. Where'd he go? Oh, pumpkin. There we go. So I'm going to touch in that snowman. And there he is. And you can line him up, and no matter how you line him up, he's going to be perfect. So you can line him up at the bottom of the design. You can line him up at the top of the design, the center of the design, wherever you need to line him up. Again, sometimes we'll have another nice example right here. She's got a zipper. It has to be parallel to the zipper or it looks dumb. So I can make sure it's parallel to the zipper just by putting that snowman in and picking that. Isn't that impressive? And it's nice to be perfect, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, this guy, I put the snowman marker on and then I hoop it up. And that little digger is just as straight and perfect as it can be, isn't it? His little tread is just right on that stripe. And I think that's important. Even though it's a kid's shirt, I think it's important. Now, how many of you all are quilters? What if I could teach you how to make a perfect? Because I can. I can teach you how to make a perfect quilt border every time. But you're limited. It can only be 4.72 by 4.72 up to 118 inches by 118 inches. Uh-huh. Yeah. So no bigger than 118 inches square, okay? That's actually a super king. Yeah. So this is what my border looks like. So there's a whole bunch of borders already in the machine. So all we have to do, let's just tell it to go home here. Sorry, thank you. I've got to wait till it's done scanning. So I pushed the wrong button. It was my left hand that did it. Can't recognize the embroidery mark. You know why? There's not one there. So I guess I'm not shouldn't be too mad at it, should I? All right. So I'm going to go home, and I'm going to get rid of that. And in this picture right here, we have two boxes. This box has quilt borders in it. This one has two color quilt borders in it. So if you wanted two colors, but I'm going to choose the other one. And I'm going to say, I'd like to do that really hard one. So let me show you how I do this. I'm going to touch that. And then it asks me the size of my quilt. So I'm going to tell it that my quilt is actually 60. Whoops, 60. What did I do wrong? Let's go to this one. By 80. See, I get in trouble. So you put in the dimensions and it will figure it out. And it will lay it out. And with its camera, it will show you how each placement needs to be. So you're never wrong. Do you love that? You're never wrong. So I'm going to leave that for a second, and I'm going to come over here because I talked about boots and shoes. Now this little Ugg boot has a story. I only carry one little Ugg boot. There's a reason for that. I went into a store one day with this little boot, and this little girl whose name was Carol, with a C, skipped up to me and she said, "Oh, what size is that?" And it happened to be her size. So I told her, and she said, "Can I have it?" Well, I've only got one. She's in the store. So she skips off with it and she goes, Grandma, I want this." Turns out Grandma's got 4 granddaughters. Putting initials on boots seems like a pretty good idea when you live in the northeast part of the state where there's snow. Grandma bought this to do this. It's a good grandma. So I do shoes, I do boots. So there's a really practical side to this. Yes, it's cute. But the practical side is for, of course, it's not as big a deal for an infant, but it is for a toddler. How many of you have had a 3-year-old in your life and they always put the shoe on the wrong foot? Yes. I taught kindergarten for a long time, and they'd all come in and fall down flat because they'd had the wrong foot on the wrong shoe, you know. So if you put a design on and the design goes on the outside, they always get it right. So it's got a very, very practical application to it. What hoop did I use? Are you ready? It's called the shoe hoop. Now the same thing is true with the shoe clamp. It is a clamp. So I use it for gloves. I use it for all kinds of things. Anything that's little and awkward and hard to manage, it'll just clamp it right in there. And you can use it for all kinds of fun stuff. It's a very small embroidery field, but it does a beautiful job. Isn't that amazing?
Crazy
Is that my
clean.
5 minutes? Okay, thank you. Okay. So the shoe hoop is about 1.5 inches by. Does it expand? It does not. It's going to just clamp an area, and I have a picture of it. I can show you. It literally is a clamp like that, and you can put a glove in it, a shoe in it, whatever. Moccasins, Ugg boots, whatever. Oh, sure, but I wouldn't do that with a. Yeah, get your sock. See, that's the whole thing. I hadn't thought of putting a sock in there, but she did. Will it work? Yes. Okay, I got a few more things I want to show you real quickly. Okay, that's this guy. Isn't that fun? So the sleeve hoop is my friend, and it was designed to do sleeves, but again, pant legs, I don't care what you do with it, it's awesome. But that's the sleeve hoop. This fella right here. Oh, what do I show you first? This one or that one? Oh, let's do this one. Let's do this one. So this guy is a 14 by 14. So it takes a specialty hoop, and you do the top half and then flip it around and do the bottom half, and they marry together like that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so that's that guy. And then this guy is fun because a lot of times we get our brains stuck in that it has to be fabric. Well, this is genuine pleather. That is genuine pleather. You can buy that at any fabric store in the United States. And it looks and feels like leather, but it cuts like fabric. Okay? Isn't that fun? The question was, did I pre-cut the letters? And yes, I did. So my scan and cut, yes, ma'am, I did. So what I do is I cut it on scan and cut. I tell the machine that's what I want it to do, and it will lay down a placement line so I know where to put it. And then it'll do a tack down line. I usually have a little baby blanket stitch for that. And then it'll do the satin if that's what I want. Isn't that fun? I mean, I get to have fun. And then this one is just fun because it's a pocket. And you don't think about being able to do the pocket and still use the pocket. But to me, a pocket's not so good if you can't use it. So this guy goes right over the arm, hoop it right up and put it on there, and it'll stitch a pocket for you. So I think I'm about out of time. I think they're going to throw me off the stage in a minute. Yes? Okay. So are there questions? Do I ever go at full speed? Oh, heck yes. Oh, yeah. And there's no difference in the stitch quality. There's no difference in anything. If I'm going to go at full speed, I will typically use the table. It comes with an amazing support table, which we left over there because we got hijacked. But it has a big support table that comes with it for heavy projects and coats and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've done those great, big, heavy Carhartt jackets that are really no problem at all. And then it'll turn around and do organza. It's like, I know. I have a picture of the shoe clamp, but it's over at where my machine is. If you come over there, I'd be happy to show you a picture of the shoe clamp. You don't think what? It actually will fit on most all of them. Yes. So you brought up a really interesting point, and I'm going to cover that right now. Brother is very, very, very good about having things match. So when they try to make a new clamp or hoop, it goes all the way back to our early models, so that you're not lost. Thank you all for coming. I had to turn this off and take my baby home. Sorry.
No, no.
As soon as I get this out of the way, I'll get my. Oh, that's me.
Give it to Barb too. Hi, I'm Barb Michaelichuk, and I am here to talk about the XP3 and the new feature edge-to-edge quilting. So I'm actually going to stitch out an edge-to-edge to you, a real small one, so you can see how it works. But what I want you to see to start with is you can use edge-to-edge. I took 3 yards of different colors of fabric, and I just made edge-to-edge. I guess my mic's not on. Why is it red? We were in the middle. Testing, testing, testing. Aha. Again, I'm Barb Michaelichuk, brother educator, and I'm here to show you the XP3 edge-to-edge feature, which I cannot tell you how amazing it is. It's easy to use, it's perfect, and it's just fun to be able to do that. So like I said, I took 3 yards of fabric, I did edge to edge on each one of the yards of fabric, cut it out, and made a vest. This is it's just plain cotton fabric, which I put a design on. So you can do it for as little as you want pretty much, but you can go all the way up to a king size quilt. This is done edge to edge on the luminaire. So if you want to ask me how I did that, I'd be glad to share that with you. So I'm going to go to the screen now on the machine, and I'm going to show you where to find this and how to do it, okay? We're there. All right. So under embroidery, you have the Q for quilting functions. So it's in there. So now you have a new subcategory, this 04, and that's your edge-to-edge patterns. So if I choose 04, I have 10 patterns so far that I can quilt with. And I'll just pick the leaves for now. And you pick whichever one you want, and you can pick them all and look at them. There's sewing and snowflakes. That's done with snowflakes. This is the back side of the quilt. The front is Santa's Christmas Eve trick, so it's done with snowflakes. So I'm going to use the leaves, and I'll say set, just like you would any embroidery design, right? But now I get this page, and it's like, what the heck am I doing with this? You will tell your machine how big the thing is that you want to stitch edge to edge. So my thing I'm going to show you today is 11.5 by 18. It's small, but it's going to be all the connections so you get the idea. Whereas that thing was like 90 by 90. Okay, it does all the math for you. So this is blue up here, and it's got a number 1 on it. So I'm 11.5. 11.5. Nope, that's wrong. Clear. There's like 11 inches. Why am I not seeing my 0.5? We're going to do 11 inches, and it won't set. Okay, hold on. It's set in millimeters, and I'm trying to put in inches. Ta-da! Now we go. 11.5 and set, and that pops right in there. Now I tell it how long it's going to be. So it's this particular piece, I said 18 inches, and I put that in there. Now you have to tell it what size hoop you want to use, because it does all the math for you according to whatever size you put in and what hoop you use. So I'm going to use the new 10 by 10 magnetic frame for now. So I went to the 10 by 10. And then it gives me this flip option. I love this flip option because if you watch here, it gives you 4 different ways to connect the pattern. And that's just a personal preference. What do you like best? So this is connected here. This next one flips that upside down, so it has a different look. This one has another look, and then this one has another look. You choose the one you like best. So I'm going to just choose the 4th one. And then in here it tells me you're going to have 3 pieces and 3 rows to do this size hooping in the size hoop that I picked. I used the largest hoop for that, for 10 5/8 by 16. I didn't use a magnetic, and it was a sandwich, and I had no problems because of the way it tightens. So I just put it in there, and as long as I could tighten it easily, it was good to go. So you just loosen it up till you put your whole sandwich in there. So then you're going to say next, and it shows you your layout, and it also shows you how it's going to stitch. So this is not what we think as quilters. You don't start in the middle. You start on the top left corner and you go across a whole row. Then you come and start at the left side and go across a row. But the thing is that it matches it up for you. So I'm going to show you that. So I can also choose single stitch or triple stitch. Quilters like single stitch. So I just did that. And you can change the color of the thread so you can see it better when it projects for you to match it up. So I'm going to make this white so we can see it better. And then you go to memory. It's your only choice. Go to memory. So now it's saying it's going to save it in the memories machine. It does all the work for you. Okay. I have to say okay. And now I'm in my memory. It automatically brings up your memory pocket. So I choose the design. And now I get all these choices. It's like, wait, I want you to do this for me. What it does, it gives you the choice to do it for you, but it also gives you each individual piece in case you wanted to do it yourself. And it's like, why? I want it to do it. So I pick this one that has the 9 pieces in it, and I say set. And it automatically will bring up my first section. And it shows you here how to hoop your quilt. So you know where that sashing or that border is, and that's what you're going to line up to. So I've just taken some scrap fabric and I kind of drew a border. So I'm going to go to this point right here for my first starting point, and you'll be able to see this in a second. So let me put this on here. These stitch out so quickly, you'll be amazed at how fast it goes, which is so much fun. So I have done what it asked me to do. So I say, okay. And now it says, use the move pattern keys to align the upper left corner of the pattern area with the upper left corner of where you want to stitch. So it tells you what to do. Okay. So then the next thing I'm going to look for is it says the carriage is going to move, and it is going to project onto my fabric, my quilt, where this is. Okay, I've switched over to she's got me. So can you see this here? Do what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you could just maneuver the dot cam.
Maneuver the cam so you can see it. There we go. All right, so it's hard to see here, but there's a green crosshair right there in the corner. So I'm going to use the move keys on the screen to put that exactly in the corner. Now, if I hoop this crooked, right, the next thing it's going to tell me to do, I didn't draw a very straight line there. So, the dot cam is upside down? Is it upside down? There it is. It's upside down. Hold on. I can't go all the way around. So I got to do it this way.
Can you just put in your? Let me see. Is that correct?
Let's see. Let me get it on here. Now we got it. Now we got it. Now you can even see the crosshair. Okay, so I did not draw it very straight, so I pretended like I didn't. Got it? So I now have that lined up to that very top corner. And the next thing it's going to ask me to do on the screen is to use the rotate keys in case it doesn't go down the line straight. So it lines it up perfectly to your sashing or your border. So I'm just going to say, okay, I'm back on the screen, Barbara. And see, it tells me, use the rotate keys to make sure that this is lined up. So I say, okay, same thing happens here now on my quilt, back to the dot camera. Sorry. It now projects. There it is. And see the crosshair up there? So it is, all I have to do is adjust the rotation. And it's like maybe 0.1 millimeter and stitch. And I stitch my first piece. So I say, okay, now we're going to stitch. And why is it not? This is a brand new machine out of the box, so it hasn't been adjusted so your foot automatically goes down, which is, of course, what you want it to do. So it's going to stitch this first stitch out, and then it's going to say, are you ready to stitch the next piece? Now, I made this tiny on purpose, so this goes fast for us. But if you are doing something like this, and you're not going to get it all done in a day because you got 6 other things you got to do before you leave for wherever, you can stop wherever you are, turn the machine off. When you turn the machine back on, it goes exactly back to where you stopped in the middle of this program. So you don't have to worry about losing that. What you trying to do? Sorry. You're just stitching, so you're not really watching that. And I'm going to show you how you line up the next piece, because that's what everybody wants to know. How is this edge to edge, right? So this is almost done. It's actually a 2-minute stitch. I'm surprised. And it will tell me then to, and you want to pay attention where it stops stitching, because you're going to take the first stitch, the first crosshair, and you're going to match it to the last stitch of the last section. And that's how, and then you also do the rotating. So it'll go perfectly across. Then when you get to the edge, you have the ability to stretch or shrink in case it's not exactly to your edge. And the same thing on the bottom. You can stretch or shrink that if you need to. So it's perfect, because sometimes our measurement on the top is not the same as on the bottom, you know, unless we're in competition, which we're not. So it is now stitching a positioning stitch, because you line up each row that goes down to the positioning stitches above. And that's how it keeps it level and all of that. Okay, so we're back on the screen. It says embroidery is finished. Do you want to connect the next pattern? Okay. And again, it will show you all of the instructions. It's telling me here how to rehoop. And it tells me to make sure that I have the last stitch within the embroidery area. So I'm just going to real quick rehoop this so you can see it. I'm glad you could see the projections, because that's what makes it so easy and so fast and so perfect. And that's a magnet. Okay, so I'm going to move it over, but I have to make sure that I keep that last stitch in the embroidery area, which I can easily do. And you're doing your whole sandwich now, okay? I might have cut this piece a little bit too small. That's okay. Can't see through the machine. Oh yeah, it's backwards. Hello. Okay. I dropped one on the floor. Ta-da. All right, so we're ready. I rehooked it. I'm going to say okay. And it's going to tell me now, take that crosshairs and match that first stitch up with that last stitch. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and say okay. Back to the dot cam. Hope you can see this. There we go. And I'm going to use the move keys. I did not give it enough space. This thing is, ugh.
Sorry.
Nope, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I have to have enough border or excess so that it can move. And I didn't give it enough space. So I got to move this down. And I've learned if I have that matching stitch right about the center of the hoop, it works perfectly. So just kind of think about that. All right, move this down so that I can actually connect it. I mean, it's really hard to work over a machine. I love this hoop. I love this hoop. Now, I said I didn't use this hoop on that. I used the big hoop because I wanted to do more at a time. But I'll use this hoop for anything that'll fit in here. That's how much I love it. So this is the new 10 by 10 magnetic, if anybody wonders what the heck is up here. Okay, so back to the dot cam. And I need to match this first stitch with the last stitch. See how easy it is to see that? There's my last stitch. And there's going to be my first stitch. And I'm just going to say, okay. And we're going to stitch it. Oh, first I have to do the rotation. I have to make sure that this matches up here. And it does. I'm good to go. I don't know how I hooped it straight, but I did. And stitch. And you can see how this first stitch then touches the last stitch. So like I said, you can do this for just making fabric like I did for the vest. You can do it for a table runner. You can do it for placemats. You can do it for king size quilts. And it works. And it's just fun and easy. So I did a poor job of drawing my quilt area. I took one of Angela's blocks over there in a pen and I just kind of went like this. It didn't work well because it's curved. The block is curved. Okay, so right there is the match of the stitch. So I didn't take the time to get it smack on. It's like one stitch off. But you can do it until it's back on. Question. Say that again. The first thing we said was we need more. And I'm sure. So that was the first thing we said. So do you see how simple this is to do? And some of you weren't here for me when I explained using the big hoop. I'm going to move the dot cam. Oh, here. When I used the big hoop for that, all I did literally was unscrew this a whole bunch until I could just lay my quilt sandwich in it and easily put the top on. And it was still loose enough that all I had to do was this, and it was good to go. And I didn't have any trouble. It didn't come out, didn't move. Now, when you do a king size quilt, you need to control the weight. So I have a couch a couple feet behind my machine area table. So I would throw it back there when it was back there. When it's in the front, I would kind of hang on to it. I would roll the sides because if you don't control the weight, this says, oh, you need a bigger hoop because you're messing the sensor up. And it's like, there is no bigger hoop. So I would just hold it up and then press go again, and it was fine. So it's just you got to make sure that that weight's okay. So back on the screen, it says, do you want to do the next section? And it tells you how to hoop it. Again, it's just like we did the last one. So I'm going to trick this and go to the next row because that's what you need to see is how to do the next part. How I trick it is I pretend like I stitched it. Yes, ma'am. 5 minutes? Yeah, that's why I'm going to skip over this. I said plus or minus on here. I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I'm moving this and not moving it. I'm just letting it go. And it's ready to stitch. So I'm plus or minus. I can skip the section by pretending like I stitched it. I'm going to stitch one stitch and it thinks it's stitched. So then it's ready to do the next row. And this is what I want you to see. Okay? So on the screen, embroidery is finished. Okay to connect the next pattern. Okay. Now look at how it changes the instructions. You need to hoop the next row down, and you're going to connect the projected crosshairs with the 2 positioning marks that it's stitched in here. Now, I have a secret for you. When you have these positioning marks, you have to take them out when you're done. And they're in there. Get what I'm saying? Okay. So I did a little fussing around, and the engineers wouldn't like this, but it worked. I took a friction pen where the projection was, where it was going to stitch the position, and I just put a dot there. Worked just fine. And then I could iron that away. And I didn't have to take them out. Like I said, engineers aren't going to want to hear that. That's okay. Because they like everything to be perfect, and I get that. But we are all about trying to find out what else we can do with it. You know what I'm saying? We love to test the waters, so to speak. Okay, so I rehooped to the new position, and I'm going to say okay. And it shows me here that the first crosshairs goes to the first positioning mark. Okay. All right. Dot cam. And you can touch and drag right on the screen also, or use your positioning marks or your move marks. So see how clear that is to see? I mean, can you see it? I'm sorry, I'm holding this and not looking. There it is. That crosshair is smack on that embroidery position mark. So I'm good to say okay. And then it's going to do the rotate one. And see, here's the stretch mark back on the machine screen, Barbara. Okay, see the stretch mark there? It's reminding you that if it's not going all the way to that second positioning mark, you can make it go there. So I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to come up here, and you can see that it's a little high. So I'm just going to bring it down. And that's by rotating. There we go. And now I'm good to stitch this section. That's how easy it is. Now, when I did that, obviously, and I used the big hoop, I had a very large section to stitch each time, and it went so quickly. So any questions? And I'm here for the next several days, and I can show you by actually stitching it out. I also have some samples here so you can see a little better how it looks when you're doing it, like the first section, second section, and so on. And I'll be right over here. But they got to get ready for the next person, so I got to leave. Thanks for coming and watching. Don't forget to take your thread if you got a spool of thread there. Okie dokie. I got to get out of the way.
We're just going to switch over the stage. It will take a few minutes, but next is Bree Wilcoxon from Embroidery Garden. She's going to be showing designs.
She's using this one? Oh, good.
What's the thread space?
13. Okay. I need my mic. Oh,
Good evening, everyone. Am I on, Barbara? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Reen Wilcoxon with Embroidery Garden, and I'm here in the Dime booth, which is inside of the AllBrands booth. The Dime booth is right over here. We have a lot of amazing Dime products here with us, tons of snap hoops, placement tools, threads, just all kinds of good Dime products. What I want to talk about is Dime thread. And I'm going to talk about the exquisite brand of Dime thread, their regular embroidery thread, and their metallic threads. So the Dime exquisite thread, it's a 40 weight embroidery thread. It comes in 288 colors. What I like about it also is that it has one of those pop bottoms. You know what I'm talking about? You pull out the bottom. So you can take your little thread tail, wrap it inside, pop the bottom back on, and it contains your little tail. So I think that's pretty cool. And again, there are 288 colors, and this is Dime's regular embroidery thread. Some of the flowers that I have here are freestanding lace, and I can pass some of these around. Here, let me just go ahead and, I didn't mean to make you get up. But these have been stitched as some of the Dime colors. This is freestanding lace. It was regular embroidery thread in the top and in the bottom. This is a collection of, I call them garden lace flowers. It's a collection that I did in collaboration with Dime. So this set of embroidery designs is for sale over in the Dime booth. So I've used many of their threads on these little lace flowers. I'd like to show you this. You know, because some people ask, well, what do I do with the flowers? Well, of course, you can make little pins out of them. You can use them for decorative things. Like this is actually one of the designs from Brother's website, iBroidery.com. This is their queen bee, and it has a crown with it also. I just chose not to stitch the crown out, and then I put some of my flowers around it to decorate it. So you can see how you can use some of these flowers. These are separate little elements. I just kind of stuck these on so you can see that they are separate from the flowers. So I stitched a bunch of little leaves and little sprays and things like that to kind of combine with the flowers. The flowers, you can mix and match them. So this might be a leaf or a petal from one flower, and I used a petal from a different flower and just kind of mix and match. So these are stitched out in single layers. And are you familiar with freestanding lace? You stitch it on water-soluble stabilizer. You want to use the kind that is like a fabric, like water-soluble, not the plastic type. That's more of a topper. And then once they are stitched, you rinse them out and let them dry. And I like to kind of bend them as I let them dry. So, you know, if you look at them this way, you can see that there's dimension to them. And then you just take the separate petals, layer them any way that you want. Like this one has 3 layers. This one, I think I put 1, 2, 3, 5 layers, even 6 layers, counting that one. So it's kind of, you know, use your imagination, do what you want to do with them. But so this is a Garden Flower Lace collection, which is one of the lace collections available over the Dime booth. Angela Wolf, who will be here later on, she has 2 lace collections with Dime, and it's still the same free type of standing lace. I want to show you my jacket because people think freestanding lace, you have to make it something freestanding. I took some of the designs and I actually stitched them onto my jacket. So these aren't freestanding. They were elements from the collection that I took and duplicated and, you know, created like a long column here and on the side there. You can see it on the front, along the back here. But these freestanding lace designs, I stitched them directly onto this denim jacket. You guys want to get a close look at that? You can look at that. But in addition to Dime's exquisite thread, the regular embroidery thread, they also have metallic thread. So here at the show, they've got their holiday metallic, which is a 4-pack with the gold, the silver, red, and green. And they also have a fall pack, the fall quartet, that has gold, a copper, a purple, and this is, I believe they call it brass. So you get these in a 4-pack. The metallic thread, have you guys ever stitched with metallic thread? Do you have problems? But do you have problems with, you're using Kingstar though, right? Okay, right. If you use Kingstar, you're not going to have the problems of the thread kinking. I'm sure you heard the stories about how people, they got to take their thread spool and it's got to sit way over here so the metallic can unwind as it gets to the machine. This thread, put it right in the machine and, stitch. You don't have to slow your machine down. You don't have to use a special needle even with the Kingstar metallic. Sometimes I might use, an 80-12 just because it's got a little bit bigger eye. Maybe your needle threader won't work unless you use the metallic needle because, the eye is a little bit smaller. So I want to pass around a few things that I've done with the metallic. On this flower, you're going to see that I use the metallic in the bobbin also. So you can use Kingstar metallic in the bobbin or in the top. It doesn't matter. On this one, I use the Kingstar, the red, the gold, and the green. But on the back of this one, I chose just to use regular thread. If you're doing something like freestanding lace ornaments for your Christmas tree, maybe snowflakes or something, you'll want to use metallic if you're using it on the front in the bobbin too, because those ornaments you'll be able to see, the front or back side. So with Kingstar, you can, put it in the bobbin without an issue. I've done it numerous times, yes. I don't lower the speed of my machine, but when I run my machine, and I have the Luminaire 2, when I run mine at 700. That's just me, But if you run your machine at 1050, the maximum speed, you shouldn't have any problem. Yeah, there's no, here, I'm going to just kind of toss this. They're a good catch. And you can see the metallic, and on all the layers, I use the metallic. So the silver you see there, the navy and the red, all the metallic was used in the bobbin on that. Thank you. And I didn't have one problem, not one break, not one, kink up or anything like that. Pardon me? These designs, the flower designs, they are a collaboration between me, Embroidery Garden, and Dime Designs and Machine Embroidery, but we do have them for sale over here in the Dime booth. There's like 125, thank you, Barb. There's like 125 elements, meaning petals, centerpieces, leaves, little swags, and things like that. I also recently did this towel in metallics. Pardon me? Right, this is Dime gives out a free design every week. This was maybe not last week's, but the week before, 2 weeks ago. This was their free design, and their designs will all fit in like a 4x4 or 5x7 hoop. This one was a 5x7, and I stitched this all in metallics. Of course, I used regular bobbin thread. I didn't, but if you look at the back side on my towel, I didn't even use stabilizer. How did I do that? I used a product that makes the fabric stiff. It's Material Magic. And I just sprayed it and got it nice and stiff. So I didn't have to use any stabilizer, but you can still see that the metallic it's stitched beautifully on there. No, I didn't use a topper on this. If you wanted to, you could have, but, I didn't use a topper. I can't think of what that is. You mean for like putting on top for like to hold the nap down and stuff? you know what? Eileen Roche is walking around the show here, so you might see her. So, and this was just a little pillow, like a little ring bearer's pillow that I did. Thank you. Actually, this quilting on the back was built in on the machine, so I just quilted a piece of fabric. I stitched a bunch of the little elements out of the collection, glued them down how I wanted to, added the little rings here with just a ribbon, and just made a little ring bearer's pillow. So I don't know, I thought it kind of looked cute, you know, with the freestanding lace on it. So it's another idea that you can use freestanding lace for. One thing I wanted to say about the metallics, you can see they are bigger spools than their regular thread. The metallics don't have the pop bottom on them, okay? You don't like the pop bottom? I haven't had any problems with dimes, and I love the pop bottom. But the, like I was saying, the metallics don't have it, and it might be because, you know, they're bigger. But Deborah Jones showed this tip, I don't know, it was a couple of months ago I saw her do it for the metallic threads because, you know, they're, how the metallic is made, you know, they're a little bit slippery. And so if you don't have this thing to hold the thread tail secure, how are you going to hold the secure once you open up your thread and start using it? So what Deborah Jones does, and I think it is the coolest thing ever. But let me close this because it doesn't have, remember, we're going to pretend this is metallic. So she pulls off maybe about 8 or 10 inches. Take the tail, bring it back to the spool. I'm just holding it here on the other side. So now you have this little loop. You're going to take it, you're going to spin it maybe about 3 times. Take it, put it over top of the spool, pull your little tail, and then now just take your scissors and cut that off. And was that worth the price of admission? Wasn't that cool? And then just cut that off. Yeah, you're going to waste maybe a few inches of thread, but to keep these secure and not let them just, you know how it is. You guys put your thread in a drawer and it just tangles up. But that's the way that you do it. And then when you're ready to undo it, you just pull it back and clip, and then you're ready to go. You are amazed, aren't you? I can tell.
I really am, because I mean, that has been a week.
Right, and you don't have to use those little nets and things that go over top, you know, that really never work. They don't work for me. But yeah, that is like the coolest tip I ever saw. Let's see, what else can I talk to you about? So we have the 2 different packs of metallic, but you can order, you know, any of the colors. One of the colors is kind of this darker teal. On this one, I used metallic in the darker areas, and on these lighter areas, that's just like a coordinating their regular exquisite color of thread. So I think there are like about, it's either 16 or 17 different metallic colors they have. And they are these 5,000 meter spools. Whereas these are the, you know, the regular embroidery thread is 1,000 meters. On this flower, I didn't use metallic, but on this one, as I was starting to stitch, you know, you're going to hoop your water soluble. And when I do freestanding lace, I always hoop 2 layers. That's me. And before you start stitching the flower, lay down a piece of mylar. And then you just stitch the petals. So I stitched 2 of these petals. This one I didn't put mylar under because there are no open areas in that center. But there's mylar under the leaves. And you can see how much shine that it adds to that. So it's just a way you can, you know, make them a little bit more pretty too. You guys have any questions or anything about the threads? Yes. Yes, you can use the exquisite thread. This is regular embroidery thread. You can use it on any machine. And this is the thread I use it exclusively. I have all 288 colors. And I will tell you, my machine loves it. You know, yeah, I've never had any problems. I have the Luminaire that I've upgraded to a 2 is what I have. And if my machine loves it, then I'm going to keep using it. The metallics work on any machine. Both of these can work on a multi-needle machine. I've done the metallics on a multi-needle. Don't have any problems with that. You love it? Yeah. Everyone who tries it loves it, because if you want to stitch with metallics, and right now is the time. I mean, the holidays are coming up. You want that little bit of sparkle and glitz, to things. And people try different brands of metallics, and then they get so frustrated because they kink, they snap, they break and stuff. And with this, I have never had an issue with the King Star metallics.
I would always used to shy away from these towels.
Thank you. Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat. So if you don't have any other questions about metallics or any of the threads, I'd like to invite you over to the Dime booth to check out some of their other great products, the snap hoop monsters and the placement tools and the other things. We have the weightless quilter. I don't know if you guys have seen that. They just came out too with the tabletop. We have that over there going. All right, ladies. So thank you for stopping by. Yeah. It's right here. See where it says Dime? Dime booth is right inside the AllBrands booth. So you can come over there and we can answer any questions for you.
Got it? Okay. Hi, how's everybody? Good. Great, great. Glad to be here. We're going to talk a little bit about my design center. How many of you have tried it or have the machine? Okay. We're going to have questions after I show some things, okay? My design center is where I love to live. I absolutely, I can create things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do without a long arm. All right. So I can go in here and I can actually create what a long arm might do. And here is one example. I can do a background with multiple hoopings that you can't find out where in the background any of that connected. All right. But there's multiple hoopings in this, but I just filled in the area. And what I did was I told it where I wanted that stitching to go and not on my lettering. Okay. You can take a panel and make it look like an applique piece. So here's Tinkerbell. And it's actually stitched on top of the lines. The background is all filled in and you can't tell again where the background started or stopped. I use different techniques or different line in her bow. So you can actually create something with my design center that you, on your luminaire. All right. Here is also one of my later projects, and this is all done in my design center. And it is a panel again, but all of these petals were scanned, and then I drew the outline of the petal, and I actually placed a line draw in the petal and then did decorative fills all around it. Okay. The color comes from colored pencils and shading with crayons. All right. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to fill in a section of a panel, okay, like Tinkerbell or any of those the ones that I showed you. And we're going to go into my design center for a little bit and actually outline an area that I want to fill, okay? So we're going to go to the screen or there. Okay, good enough. Okay, I am using Brother's new pen, the stylus. I love it. And we're going to go to my design center. All right. Now, up at the top, we have the scanning. And this is an image scan. That's all I want to do. I just want to get the background up here on the screen so that I know where I want my decorative fill to go. So I'm going to scan it, and it's going to tell me the frame is going to move. Fine. I'm also using Brother's new 10 by 10 magnetic frame, which it's really very, very easy to use, and the magnets hold the quilt. You know, you have a quilt that's got batting and backing, but these magnets hold everything secure. Okay. One more scan. There we go. There we are. All right, let's darken this just a little bit so you can see it. Can you see the area now? There's a little bit of a glare on the screen, but we're going to do this area right in here. Right in here. All right. So we're going to take the paintbrush and we are going to paint in here. So I'm going to magnify it just a little bit, and I'm going to start painting, and this is driving me a little bit nuts. There we go. All right. And we're going to start outlining the area that I want to stitch. So I'm trying to do this without getting my hand in the way. Do you see what I'm doing? Just outlining the area that I want the decorative fill to go. Okay. Now you can either use a mouse, which would be hooked up on the side of the machine, or you can use a pen. And I'm just going to fill in this area here. All right. And close that up. And now that I've got a continuous or a solid line around there, I can do the bucket and I can fill, whoops, I have a hole someplace. So I have to go in here and find the hole. There it is right there, see it? So if I did this and did a little bit of paint brushing, I can now go in here and do my bucket and it's just going to fill that area. Now you notice that I'm not quite where I should be, so I can go in and I can paint some more. Now at home, most of the time I use a mouse and I'm a little over on this line. So what I'm going to do is erase. I'm just going to take the eraser and clean up my lines. So I'm going to go in here and paint just a little bit more. I like this pen because the clear tip, you can actually see where you're drawing. So I really like this pen. It's easy to use and it feels good in your hand too. Okay, let's go in here and paint in this corner just a little bit better. There we go. Oh, I really didn't get that area, did I? All right, let's see what we got. Well, we need to get in there a little bit more. Everybody understand what I'm doing? I'm just filling in the section that I want the stitching to go. Okay. There, that looks pretty good. Now I have a choice of stitches that I can put in this area here. I chose the rest of it to be just stippling, but I can go in here and I can choose a decorative fill. So like the one piece that I showed you, which was, where is it? This one. This is one of the scallop pieces. Where are we? There we are. So this is one of the scallop designs. It's not the stippling, but it's a scallop. And really, if you look at it, you can't see where it was joined. So I'm going to go with this, the stippling that I had before. We're going to touch OK. And I'm going to touch my bucket and then touch inside there, and it turns it all to the stippling. Now I'm going to go next. And this is where I can adjust my stippling. So I can go 200%, or I could go, oh, the lights just came on. Goodness. I can go down to 80, which is itsy tiny. If you can't hardly see, this is tiny, tiny, tiny. So we're going to stick to the 200%. Because that's what the rest of it is. That's what I did at home. So you have your choices. There we go. That's the default. Anytime you see a black box around anything on the screen, it is the default setting. So trust me, write this down so that you remember it when you go back the next morning. All right. All right. So we're going to go 200%. You see how much bigger it is now? It's tough to see, I know. But that area is now filled with my stippling. And I don't have to worry. I can just quilt my panel and create the image as if I was doing it on a long arm. Okay, so why don't we stitch that? And I have a little handy camera here that I'm going to set for you. So we're going to put it in memory first, and then we're going to take it and we're going to go to the embroidery side. Now, I never stitch anything blindly. I always scan when I'm on the embroidery side. I'm going to scan first. So I'm going to scan my background just to make sure that it's in the same place, or I can make any final adjustments if it's not quite right. Okay, so we're going to scan. It's going to come up on the embroidery side now. It scans faster on the embroidery side than it does on the My Design Center side. Okay. All right. That's pretty. Can you all see how nicely that fits in? It really, really looks like you did it on a long arm. All right. So there's two. When I go to embroidery, I've already scanned it and I know it fits. But there's also a projection, so I can actually project the image down onto my fabric to see whether or not I like what I have done. Okay. All right. This little camera here. Can we turn that on? This is. I'm going to have to hold this. So we're going to do the projector, and then I'm going to move this. Okay. So let us just go. Oops, I touched something. Oh, I touched. There we go. All right, I have to touch it in the right spot. All right. Let me get to the. Can you all see? All right, where am I here? Here. Not quite. There we are. Gosh, I can't see. I think it's right in. All right, let me put my finger here. Not quite getting it. Oh. No, I got it up top. It has to focus. Oh. Yeah, maybe from the back you can get it. Wherever my finger is. The projector is tough to see when it's on camera because of the laser light. We're trying. Hang on.
Right here?
Right here. Yep. There it is. All right. And we can't do anything about the rainbow because that's just the way the camera works. So, but you can see that I can actually see that projected right on my fabric. So I know that it's going to be perfectly placed. Okay. So we're going to say, I like it. We're going to get out of the background of the projection, and then we're going to go to stitch. So let me just make sure I've got my lockdown here. Yeah. And we're going to press and go. Now, again, I'm using the new 10 by 10 magnetic hoop, and it comes with 4 large magnets and then 4 smaller ones in case you have a finicky piece of fabric that needs to be held down. Okay, I find that most of the quilts that you're doing, you can use the longer ones, and that's probably sufficient. You don't need the other 4. Oops, sorry. Any questions? I know somebody said mine there. Can I use what? Any hoop to scan? You can, yes, any hoop that fits on your machine, you can scan. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I use the magnetic frames from Brother. I use the regular hoops, and I also use some of the dime hoops. No, the scanning is a method internal to the machine, not depending on what hoop you have on. Okay. Well, time saving that's a good question, but if you don't have a long arm, it doesn't matter. Right? So, yeah. And you know what? I only do one area at a time because sometimes if you get to the embroidery side and you need to make an adjustment, you might make an adjustment in one area and it'd be perfect, but then you really move something out of the other area that might not need that adjustment. Fabric is funny. I mean, it can be wavy. Yeah. It stretches, it pulls. So one small area at a time, focus on just one area at a time and then move along. Okay. Just keep going along. And we are done. I have and I have not. It depends on how precise I want to get. Starching the whole panel is really kind of a pain. What I do when I do the layering or the cotton, I do not use a spray, because what you want to do is you're going to start kind of in a corner and go out. It's a sale. You start in the corner and go out, but you want to be able to smooth that fabric. And if you have spray adhese that fabric, it's not going to move along quite easily. It's going to stick, and you're going to create more problems than it's worth. So I just layer the fabric and then kind of smooth it out as it goes with my magnets. And the magnets are really easy to use. So, okay, they just flip on. What you do is you pull it forward and clip it down. That's as easy as it is. All right. And if you need these other little guys, you can certainly use them too. So let me, I do not. No, because the batting has some texture to it, and it keeps the batting and the backing all together. So all you need to do is make sure that you are going in one direction or one area and just smooth it as you go. All right. So let me take this off, and I can kind of show you. Now, when you take this off, you have to remove the magnet. There we go. All right. I am going to see if we have, and of course it's tone on tone. I think the easiest thing for me to do is to pass that around for you so you can see. All right. Now I've got another hoop down here. How are we doing on time? Okay, cool. All right. Yes, I know. I know. Then I'd have to go home and take it all out. Oh, literally, I'm tied to the machine. Okie doke. The funniest thing was one of our other educators who was using invisible thread when she was demonstrating. She got to the airport, and the thread was in her bag, but it was trailing, and nobody could find it. So everybody was tripping over something, but couldn't find it. All right, this is one of the dime hoops. So this is how I'm working on this one. This is one of the ones I've been working on. But again, I'm going to scan the image. And when you put your hoops on, make sure that you hold with your left hand, you hold the bracket, I guess you want to call it, and slide gently. That way you don't move anything here, and you just get your quilt in nice and easy. You are so welcome. Good. Okay. Now you want to go back and do another one, right? Okay. So this is just another idea. I'm going to scan the background image one more time. And see, it doesn't matter. This is the 10.5 by 16 dime hoop. And it's going to bring the image of this whole leaf in here. Again, on the My Design Center side, it scans about 5 different times, 5 back and forth, because it's 300 DPI, and it'll pick up every bit of fuzz or every bit of thread that you have on your screen, on your fabric. Okay. All right, maybe this image is a little easier for you to see, but to get the outline of your leaf here, I'm going to use a line draw instead of the paintbrush. So I'm going to take the line, and I'm going to use the connected line. Now this just, it's kind of, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a straight line. It just means that the line, every time I pick up my pen, it's going to connect the line the next time I put it down, okay? So I'm going to do the connected line, touch OK. And now I'm going to outline around here. Now I'm going to do this really fast so that we can get through the whole thing. Because when I get down to the bottom here, I'm going to change the line characteristics to no sew. I still want to fill this area, so I still have to tell it that it's got an edge here, but I want a decorative line here and a no sew line here, okay? So we're gonna just quickly go around here. And I want you to see, and I may not be able to complete this, but we're gonna show you what it means to do the connected line and how you can actually make a circle with this connected line, even though it looks straight. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to draw the line, and then every time I promise I'll bring a mouse tomorrow and we'll do it so my hand isn't in the way, okay? Come on, there we go. So I'm going to click around. And every time I put the mouse or the pen down, it creates the line. The shorter the line, the more curved the line is. The longer the line, the more straight it is, okay? So if I don't like that last one, I'm just going to undo it. There we go. And just click around. And I can move this line anywhere I want. So I'm going to just follow the outline of the petal. And I'm going to do this really, really fast, so you can get an idea. Now, I have also designated this as a satin stitch. So we are going to quickly go around here. Now, I would not be this fast and sloppy. You get it, right? Okay. Get around to the point. We're just going to take some big, long, but the braid, if you look at my Tinkerbell, the braid on her hair, whoops, sorry, is actually done the same way, and it makes a loop. It makes a little bow. So okay, oops, I'm being too sloppy there. Okay, do you understand? You get what I'm doing here? And I'm magnifying this so I can actually see the line a little bit better. We'll get around, go around. Okie doke. All right, so let's get down to the bottom. All right, real quick. Oh, goodness. All right. So I would go all the way around here. And when I got down to this point, I would change, instead of a satin stitch, I would go in here and change it to no sew. So I would continue around, and let's just pretend that it ends here. So we're going to go over here, and now it's a no sew zone. So we're going to skip over here. And I'm going to go up and meet where I started. Whoops. Here. Okay, I started up here. I'm going to look at that, and you're going to see that the only thing that you see is this satin stitch. Oh, I didn't. All right. It should have done no sew. I didn't hit the no sew. But anyway, it wouldn't sew. It wouldn't show this. It would only show the outline. And then you could go in, and you can say, I want to fill it with my decorative fills. You can bring in line draws. Okay. You can bring in line draws from a coloring book, and that's how I did a lot of these. You can also bring in designs from the shapes here. That's how I just did a star. Where's my star? There it is. I just did this tonight. Can you see it? Yeah. There's the star. So that one I just did over there on the other machine. So you can place these anyway and then put the decorative fill right behind it. But the outline is just going to go here. Oops. It's just going to go on the outside, and then it won't duplicate what's already done on these other prior petals. There we go. Okay. So it would not sew anything other here. It just contains it. So it's one big continuous piece. Okay. So, any questions on that? Nope. Did you? Okay. Make sense? Okay. Uh huh. No, but you can take the picture and send it to your machine and then do the very same thing. You don't have the projector, but you have your scan or your picture, and then you can draw right inside those lines. Okay? Yes. Has the same capabilities. You're just taking the picture instead of scanning it. Right. Right. So you gals came in a little late. Well, next time. Okay? 3:30 tomorrow. Okay? You have a luminaire? Ah, the lucky one. Oh, yes. Yeah. So I know. I know. But my design center is the bomb. It is the bomb. So thank you. You're very welcome. Good. Good, good. Solaris. Mm-hmm.
about a 1/4 inch below the height of the free arm of my machine. And I do that because then I can take all the other legs that pop on and off, and I can measure them out before I put my machine and my table in place. And it's a lot easier than to level it when it's all on already. So our leg system is one of the things that makes our tables unique because they just pop on and off. You never take a screwdriver to our tables. You just pop them on and off, and then you can go ahead and walk away with them. So Donnell, I'll let you go ahead and get into place here. I'm going to go ahead and give away a few of our prizes right now, and then we're going to give an opportunity to win some bonus items as well. So we have a brand new quilting club called the Starry Nights Ruler Work and Embroidery Club. You'll have to come down and see the quilt in our booth. But with that, Donnell's going to be showing off a couple of the tools, but she'll be telling you about some of the other standard accessories that we have with our tables as well. So one of those that you see here is actually called our Sew Steady suspension system. And this is a really cool new way to be able to kind of take the drag out of quilting, is what we like to say, but it helps you hold up that project. You can attach that to your Sew Steady table for smaller items, but we recommend pulling it out and really attaching it to maybe your countertop or your quilting table if you're doing bigger projects. So this clamp actually expands up to 3 inches. So you can go ahead and really get a good, surface if you need to clamp it to something thicker. But that's one of our new tools, and that might be one of our giveaways that we have going on today. So Donnell's just showing you how you can really just kind of keep that moving and be able to do a lot of sewing. What else do people like to do with those suspension systems, Donnell?
Well, I've heard that you can also use it for putting on your binding or attaching your walking foot and using it for, as you can see here, we did this with ruler work, but you could also use that for your walking foot to do your cross hatching. And then also I've heard a lot of people use it just stitching in the ditch. And I also had a lady tell me she pressed a wedding dress with holding it up on the suspension system. So she actually attached it to her iron. And I will show you that we use the rolls here, and they come with this tape around it so it clings to your quilt. Now we obviously have this on here backwards so that you can see what we're doing, but you can see how easy this is. I like to put 2 of them on my regular table about 10 inches apart. I actually leave a loop in it like this because it seems to have a little bit more bounce and a little bit more strength when you do that. So I recommend you get 2 boxes so that you have 4 of those suspension. And I can't tell you, we've only been here obviously since 5 o'clock, but how many people have already bought them and have already said, I'll be back tomorrow. And one lady said, genius, because I've seen one of those systems that looks like they're going to pull an engine out of a semi-tractor. I mean, it's just they have a big mechanism, but this is so simple to put together. It's easy enough that I actually just leave it on my table while I'm working. So that's our suspension system. And like I said,
and will you let them know I'm giving away something free right now?
Oh yeah, she's good. Stacy is giving away a collection of embroideries that are part of the bonus of our Starry Night set. So I'm going to go ahead here and get set up so that I can show you how we do our template quilting. And we have a ruler work foot here, and these are sized to your machine. Some machines have their own ruler work foot, but you want to make sure it is truly a ruler work foot and not just a stippling foot or whatever, because as you can see, it's rather thick here. So the design I'm going to show you tonight, the templates are part of that set Stacy was talking about, and that is the Starry Night set. And so I'm going to put this right here in the center. This is what we call a crosshair square. And this happens to be our second most popular one because the 8-point is what we use a lot of. This is a 6-point because what I'm going to be doing is a 12-sided, so to speak, design. It's really not, but I'm just taking this and you can see those lines on there. Yes, ma'am.
We need to position the dock cam so that we can see the screen camera. So, Emmeline, if you could do that.
This way.
So that our live watchers.
Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, yes. All right.
You could just leave it like that. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I love to hear that. Oh, yes, that's better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reposition this so that the etching lines are on what I've already drawn. And now I will get an additional set, which means I will have 12 lines to work with there. And I think you can see those in that spot. Now I'm just going to quickly extend these just because of the fact that I know what I'm going to show you. I need a little bit longer line. Now we do have this particular template or this crosshair square in a 12.5-inch, so it would absolutely make these lines long enough to begin with. But what I brought is my small 8.5, and so just that quick, we have extended those lines. So I am going to be taking a thumbtack, and truly it's just a thumbtack, okay? And I'm going to put that right in the middle. And the reason I say it's just a thumbtack is I had a dealer tell me once that they had a customer who sent her husband 40 miles to buy a thumbtack to come in her store because she thought it was a special sewing thumbtack. But it is truly just a thumbtack. So we're going to be able to do some spinning with our templates. So this is a new template. If you've done template work before, this is brand new. And this is one that we are going to be able to connect from line to line. So I'm going to start right here on this line. I'm sorry, I messed that up for you. And I'm going to put the needle down in the line, put the foot down, and bring that thread up. I'm going to do what we call floss, and I am going to then take...
Hey, Donnell, spin that template so they can see it to the left. There you go. Get over. Can you go in front of you with the template on now?
What?
Can you go in front of you with the template?
Like this?
Yeah. Yeah. They couldn't see the template.
Okay. I can't tell where... Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll try this one more time here. Third time's a charm. So I'm putting the needle down, needle up. And I'm pulling out that bobbin thread. I'm putting the foot back down and the needle back down. So now we're just basically set up to get going with this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that thread. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this over the other way because I'm going to work around this way now that we've turned it all around. I'm not used to sewing with my nose right here on the table, but we're going to do it. And so I've got to get my foot pedal, and I'll tell you a couple of hints. I set it at medium speed, and then I just turn my foot control around to the back because I am using this to get to the next line. It's kind of my travel buddy. And now what I'm going to use is one of the stars that comes with our Starry Night. So I'm going to lift my foot. I'm going to lift the foot pedal and pass this in through that little opening. And I'm going to turn it around and I'm lining up a line here, and I'm in that particular spot. So now all I need to do is travel around. And the way we do it in the Starry Night is we would have multiple layers of fabric here, and we would then be picking or cutting out the inside of these stars to expose that second layer. So foot up, presser foot to pull this out. I'm bringing this one back in, foot back down, and traveling to the next line. And so now that I'm there, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in so my star is in the center. So I'm going to turn this around. Actually, I need to get that completely out of the way. And we will line those lines up again. And just to make this one a little bit more unique and fun, I'm going to put a tail. We have a tail right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that foot again. And I'm going to take this tail line that up. And then I can actually take this out, flip it over, and line it up the opposite way just to get a different look. So there's so many different things that we can do with our templates. And I'm going to travel. You see how I've got this little, almost like a heart look in there. Did this go off? I'm putting this back on, putting that foot back down. So you can see how this keeps continuing on around there. So I think you've got the idea of how we can play with our templates and travel from one spot to the other. So.
And we shared with you the free embroidery collection. The free embroidery collection also includes the ruler quilting tools. So this is a club that is the gift that keeps on giving. That's what we like to say. So you're going to be getting 20 different classes all throughout the next year that are going to teach you from beginning level quilting all the way through to more of an intermediate level ruler quilting using the 30 different templates and the 10 tools that we provide you. In addition to that, you're going to be getting 16 embroidery collections where you can do the same designs that you're doing with the ruler work and a whole lot more. So if you're not into embroidery, we're calling them inspiration collections because they're giving you a lot more ideas on what you can do with your ruler quilting. But that is a club that is going to just really give you a lot of education and a lot of tools and allow you to really grow. In addition to that, we actually have a couple of bonus tools that you're getting. One of those is this amazing suspension system, and that's what the tool that we showed earlier. Now we have that project attached to that which is right here that Donnell showed you. But that is a great way to be able to hold up your project. So that's one of the tools that's also going to be coming with it if you purchase it at the show, because that's a super show special. And then you also get a product called Template Fuse, and that's this amazing fusible that allows you to go ahead and do that layered template quilting. So it allows you to go ahead and iron your layers after you quilt them, and cut them away to kind of seal that project for when you're done. So we're really excited about that. Stop by the booth and learn more about that club, and a whole lot more on our tools that we have. We do have free gifts in our booth too. If you stop by and watch a demo there, might be a little bit easier to see, I'm not gonna lie. We're all set up over there. One other tool that we might tell them about is the amazing grid glider. This is probably one of our best-selling accessories, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is got all of the markings on it, so you can do anything you'd like, from a 1/4 inch seam allowance to 5/8 inch allowances. You line it up with the needle. It's just this little polyester mat that's super duper slick, but then also has all the markings. So it's kind of your first glider mat that really allows you to do a whole lot more. So we have a lot of people that have gotten this and never take it off their machines, because it's just such a useful thing to have right at your needle plate area. So again, this is called our grid glider, and that's an option that we really recommend. What do you do with those angle markings on the grid glider, Donnell?
Well, there's a lot of times when you need to know exactly. There's a lot of times when you need to know what these angles are, so that while you're pivoting, you can pivot to the correct angle. So you can see here we've got the 30, 45, and 60. And obviously over in the back side, it's the opposite way. So you're connecting this line with this line, and you're able to pivot exactly that amount.
Excellent. So we do have our wish table here. We didn't really talk much about that, but we have our wish table that's got a super duper sale this weekend, where you can get the wish table with the big blue drawer. It's got these amazing features with the holes in the table for circle sewing, as well as the beveled edges on 3 sides. That table is on sale, where you get one of these awesome suspension systems with it. In addition to that, you do get a polish kit and a travel bag. So if you haven't seen our travel bags, then you're going to want to see them, because it's a great way to just keep everything stored and just be able to kind of travel with the bag if you're going to classes, retreats, that sort of thing. So we do have a giveaway. I'm afraid that maybe the person that won it walked away, though. Anyone that we gave our little embroidery files to, you want to pull it out and see if you have a star on the top corner of your embroidery, free embroidery collection. There's a star that we drew on it in the top right corner. And if you do, then you are the lucky winner of the suspension system. So, well, you know what? Unfortunately, they walked off with the winning ticket. So I have some other little freebies that I'll hand out to the people that are left here. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll look forward to have you come by the booth, and we'll have some other prizes for you. Okay? Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, AllBrands friends. It's Emily from Life So Savory, and I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be joining Barbara and the AllBrands team at the Houston Quilt Festival this November. So come check out the booth, come see the amazing projects that we're going to be sewing on this live stage with the new Brother Air Threading Serger. Come see all the fun sewing and crafting machines that AllBrands has to offer, as well as meet me, and I'd love to meet you and say hi, and let's just get excited about sewing together. See you there.
Hi, I'm Rain Wilcoxon, founder of Embroidery Garden, and I'd like to personally invite you to the Houston Quilt Festival in November. I'm excited to be back in the AllBrands booth this year. I'll be representing designs in machine embroidery, or dime as you may know them. Stop by the booth and check out all the new amazing products from Brother, including sewing, embroidery, quilting, and cutting machines. Dime will have their magnetic hoops, helpful embroidery tools, placement tools, thread, my new hoop and press pads, and so much more. The AllBrands booth will be located on the first row as you enter the festival. Be sure to stop by and watch all the live demos going on all day by Brother educators, ambassadors, and other top educators from across the country. Hope to see you there.
Hey, Angela Wolf here. Can you believe it's less than 2 weeks away till the Houston Quilt Fest in the AllBrands booth? I can hardly wait. So a couple new things this year. We're in a new location. Front row, booth 1208. In fact, if you get lost, it's 1108, 1208, 1308. We're covering the whole area right in the front. So if you've never been to the Houston Quilt Fest before, what can you expect? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the most beautiful quilts you've ever seen. Make sure you take time for that. But there's lots of shopping, especially in the AllBrands booth. So although we have a new location, the stage will still be there with live demos and tutorials all day, every day. The demos feature all your favorite products that AllBrands will be selling at fabulous deals, especially the Brother products. As a Brother brand ambassador, this is my favorite show because it brings in all of my favorite Brother machines in one location, and AllBrands always has fabulous deals. Now, I will be at the Quilt Fest Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I will have demos on the stage featuring, of course, the Brother Luminaire XP3. One demo will feature the sewing side, another demo will feature the embroidery side. But that's not all. AllBrands loves the support the Wolfpack gives to them all year long, so they're hosting a Wolfpack meet and greet Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 11:30 a.m. at their booth. Not only is there going to be a meet and greet, we can take photos, hugs, of course, and a giveaway. How do you enter the giveaway? Just show up. If you'd like 2 entries into the giveaway each day, grab one of your Angela Wolf patterns and add some fabulous embroidery, and you get an extra entry. So it's time to start packing your bags and make sure you leave a little extra room, or a lot of extra room, for your purchases. But no worries, AllBrands ships everywhere. Now, the best way to view Houston Quilt Fest is in person, but I know not all of you can make the trip to Houston, so AllBrands is going to fulfill that by having live streaming all day, every day, so you'll see everything going on the stage. They will also have some special deals for you. All right, so start packing your bags. I will see you next week. I will be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Wolfpack meet and greets at 11:30. We're in a new booth, a new location, and some fabulous deals. Again, I'm Angela Wolf. Until next week, happy sewing and embroidery. See you there.
Hello, sewing friends. Joanne Banco here from Let'sGoSew.com. I want to tell you a little bit about something that exciting that is happening soon. International Quilt Festival will be held in early November in Houston, Texas, and I'll be there in the AllBrands booth with the AllBrands family and staff. There's going to be a whole lot of sewing going on in that booth. AllBrands has brought in lots of educators. There'll be machine specials, there'll be savings on sewing equipment, and live demos every day. I'll have the privilege of presenting a little seminar that I call Meet the Feet, where I'll introduce you to sewing feet that may be familiar and some that maybe aren't so familiar, but they're all designed to help you make the most of your machine. So I hope if you're heading to the show, you'll stop by and say hello. If you're not able to come to the show, please check in with AllBrands.com. Check out their social media channels because they'll be broadcasting live sessions that you can watch or catch up on the replays. So please make time to, if you're coming to the show, to stop by, have a seat, enjoy the demos that are going to be taking place there, shop around. I'd love to meet you there. So I hope you can stop by and say hi. Until I see you again, I wish you a world full of pretty stitches. Happy sewing.
Hi, I'm Cindy Hogan, and I'd like to personally welcome you to the 2022 Houston International Quilt Festival this November 3rd through 6th of 2022. I'm excited to get to see you guys in person again this year. The Houston International Quilt Festival is such a special time. The quilts are absolutely gorgeous, and there's inspiration all around you. AllBrands.com will be hosting the Brother booth and offering the best prices and packages of the year. We'll have live stage education the entire time. Be sure and register at quilts.com. I hope to see you there soon, and I can't wait to share more about the Brother Scan and Cut and the Brother software programs with you. Bye.
Hey everybody, Barbara from AllBrands here, and I'm so excited that we're going to be at the 2022 Houston International Quilt Festival. It's at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. We'll be hosting the Brother booth. We'll have scan and cut there, designs and machine embroidery, Sew Steady, and so much more. Oh my gosh, Laura Starr Brewer. It'll just be so much fun. And we're going to have Angela Wolf, Cindy Hogan, Wendy Chow, Becky Thompson from Power Tools with Thread, Maureen Wilcoxon, Carrie Cunningham, and the list here. So many people. Please come and join us. We're on the front row this year. Very easy access, in and out. Best deals of the year. Run. Don't walk to the Houston International Quilt Festival. Get there early. We have tons of fun stuff, and there's 1,300 beautiful quilts on display. You'll be very inspired, and we'd love to see you there.